Come in, hit the like, hit the share button. You all. So I'm going to redo this live stream upon request on a Saturday night because I was requested to because of my sound and my vehicle. I did this live stream earlier today just off of free flow. So you all come in, hit the like and share button. And the topic of this live stream is it is unbiblical. It is unbiblical not to invest, right? It is unbiblical not to invest. And so I'm going to get right into the topic since this is a redo. Now, usually when I'm driving, my thoughts are flowing a little freer, a different state of mind because it's my subconscious mind, right? I'm not thinking about the process. I'm not trying to show you scriptures. I'm not trying to show my background. I'm not trying to teach per se. It's just a freestyle type thing. But nonetheless, I prefer to do my live streams that way versus trying to be in teacher mode. But upon request, I definitely will redo this live stream as I get my globe set up. So coming in on this Saturday night. Now, the topic of the live stream is that it is unbiblical, right? It is unbiblical to not invest. This live stream is really geared toward people that are Bible believers, that are Christians. You can be any other type of religion. Um, believe in the Bible as far as reading it, that it will improve, right? Some say that the Bible or basic instructions before leaving earth. So if you believe that, I believe it's very profound instructions before leaving earth, right? I believe it's big instructions before leaving earth, not basic. However, whatever way you believe. So there's a lot of lessons in the Bible that people do not know how to apply in their everyday world. The Bible, in fact, states that Jesus spoke in parables, right? So there's a lot of scriptures, there's a lot of text in the Bible that is set up just that way to teach you a lesson, not in the fact that these events actually happen, but to teach you a lesson in a very unorthodox type way so that you can apply it in your everyday life, right? As I said earlier on my live stream, the Bible, some text of it is a fiction book that you should apply as a nonfiction context in your everyday life. And so Jesus spoke in parable because many people during that time were farmers, they were into agriculture, and he spoke that way so that people can relate. Because of that, a lot of people have a hard time interpreting the Bible, being that it is the King James Version. And as I said earlier on my live stream, a version of something means it is not the original. So the first Old Testament part of the Bible is written in Hebrew, and then we have the New Testament that is more on a Greek translation, right? So I'm going to teach from the Greek New Testament, and it's lesson that I love, Matthew 25, that it gives you a very profound lesson about the parable. It starts off with the parable of the 10 virgins. It talks about them having their oil, right, in jars filled with lamp. And the wiser ones took oil, and the ones that was unwise, the foolish ones, right, they went out to meet the bridegroom, the 10 virgins, and the foolish ones did not have enough oil. As such, we are entering a Great Depression compared to 1930s depression, but we're also entering a time frame going into next year, 2024, of a great wealth transfer. And what makes this transfer great is that our economic system, where we, as we know it, and I don't have a dollar here to show, right? But the economic system, as we know it, is changing from a physical dollar bill, which I do have a dollar bill from Venezuela, which looks better than the American dollar bill. But our currency system, as we know it, is changing from physical cash, also known as currency, to a digital version of that, a digital version. And so, as Charles Dickens in his play says these will be the best of times for some people, and for other people it will be the worst of time because, like the 10 virgins, they are or they will be unprepared. But one of my favorite investing lessons comes from Matthew 25, and it begins with verse 14. The parable of the bags of gold. Now, I'm doing a different translation, but you can see the Hebrew Greek is right here. I wanted to change it. And this will be the NIV version. Now, some people say that you're supposed to read the King James. Well, why is that? For some religious people, you got to read King James. Why is that when you don't understand the context of it anyway? However, all of these are versions of the original, from King James to NIV to the Amplified Bible, etc., etc. All of them are not the originals, right? So the parable of bags of gold comes like this, because King James says talent. So I want you all to realize and understand that these are actual bags of gold. Gold is real money. In the Constitution of the United States, it states that gold is money. This is important because once this currency system resets, you all, gold will be used to reset this currency system, and silver. This is where we get the lessons from the Wizard of Oz. Oz is short for ounces, the golden brick road, the Tin Man, the silver, right? All of the lessons of the Wizard of Oz. I did live streams on this and breaking that down in the past. So to one, he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags. I think on my earlier live stream, I said 3 bags. So excuse me for that. And to another one, 1 bag, each according to his ability. Now, the Bible brings out that the amount of money that you have in your possession is according to your ability. It's not according to how strong your prayer life is, although prayer is important. It's not according to how much seed you sow, which is a very well misinterpreted sermon that's preached to man. In fact, I brought out my first live stream that there's nowhere in the Bible where money is multiplied by giving it in the hands of man. Only food. Only food. If you want to fact check me, we can go to 2 Kings, where there is a woman, she's a widow, and her husband died. And the creditors was about to take her 2 sons. And Elijah, or some say Elisha, said to, what do you have in your house? And he did not answer that question so that she could give him her last. He asked her that question because he wanted to give her the strategy, or he gave her the strategy of how to open a home-based business, right? Of how to open a home-based business. And so she said, well, Elijah, all I have in my house is this pot of oil. He said, okay, I want you to go borrow, right? He wanted her to leverage her credit, right? I want you to go borrow vessels from your neighbors. And he said, and not just a few. I want you to borrow as many as you can. So her neighbors evidently was aware of her creditable name and allowed her, knowing that her husband had died, to borrow vessels, to borrow pots. And he said, now I want you to shut the door, and I want you to teach your sons how to work for you in the business, right? And this is very practical. You can open up a home-based business for less than $300 and employ your children to work in the business, and during tax season, legally, morally, and ethically get up to $12,000 per child back for taxes, versus you just paying for your child's sporting events out of pocket, paying for your lighting, the electricity, your food, your gas, back to school clothes and shopping. You can set it up in such a way that the expenditures of everyday transactions with your kids can now come back to you in the form of tax deductions through a home-based business. So Elisha said, 2 Kings chapter 4, I want you to open up a home-based business, Instead of your sons being sold to the creditors to work for them and have a job, work for someone else, I'm going to show you how to flip the script and allow your sons to now work for you, right? Most people don't know how to employ their children to work for them in a home based business and get the 475 tax deductions as a result. In fact, your child, as young as infancy, as an infant, can work for you in the home based business, right? You don't believe it? Then you need to study the Gerber baby, the Gerber baby. And so with this being said, we also have 2 Kings 17 and 12 as a reference that man was never given money to multiply money. Everything I read in Bible that was multiplied, and again, I know they say you can sow your money to a man or woman of God and you will reap a harvest. But biblically, is that correct? So 1 Kings 17 and 12 says, as the Lord thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal in a barrel and a little oil and cruse. And I am gathering 2 sticks that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. This is another reference scripture that I like to reference to, that man was always given food in his hand to multiply food. And so the prophet said, give me a piece first. Give me a piece first before you take the little you have, that little meal that you have, and give me a piece. And as long as I live, as long as I dwell with you, live in your house, you and your son shall not die. And they didn't die. They had an overflow of food. Likewise, in the New Testament, the 5,000 people were following Jesus, and they were hungry after following and walking with him all day. The people hunger, and a child, right, had enough sense, had enough sense to have lunch. Now, I don't know why the adults didn't have lunch. I don't know if they was, I don't know. I don't know if they didn't have enough money to purchase food. I don't know if they were so excited about following Jesus they didn't think about we might get hungry along the way. I don't know. But a child had enough sense to have 2 fish, 5 loaves of bread, right? 2 plus 5 equals 7. 7 equals divine transition. So Jesus said, give me that little food that you have, little one, and let me break the bread and give thanksgiving, and I will multiply the food. So every time I've seen multiplication of something in the Bible given to a prophet or even Jesus, it was food that was then multiplied. But I've never seen money given into the hands of man and it was multiplied. But how many times have you been taught this in the Bible? In fact, they would take the scripture in Genesis that states, as long as the earth remained, seed time and harvest time. Seed time and harvest time. And cold and heat, that's Genesis 8 and the double 22. And summer and winter and day and night shall not cease. But what does the Bible mean, seed time and harvest times, right? It is God's fixed laws. Everything produces after its own kind. Everything works in a way that everything is supposed to. And so people, that means if you have strife or beef with someone, you will have more strife or beef. But this is talking about the seasonal times in the earth realm as well. Seed time is harvest time, and cold and heat, and summer and winter. He said, my season set up for this natural earth realm. It did not mean anything supernatural as far as giving your money. But the way I have this natural earth realm set up, it's always going to be hot, cold. It's always going to be seed time, harvest. It's always going to be summer and winter, fall and spring. I added that in there. And day and night. We're going to have day and night. So let's get back to Matthew 25 and 14, the parable of money, the parable of gold. So the man received 5 bags. He went at once. This translation states at once. King James says immediately after giving money, he immediately put his money to work. Now notice, it did not say that he went to work for money. He put his money to work. How many people have been taught to put your money to work versus always working for money. Put his money to work. And because he knew how to put his money to work, he gained, multiplied 5 bags more. Did not say he put it in the hands of man. It did not say, and it is nothing wrong. As I said on my last live stream, I've never seen a person poor by giving. Nothing wrong with giving. In fact, people have given to me and I have given to people. And some things that had been tied up and locked up in their life was released as a result, right? Nothing wrong with giving. But I believe in giving in reciprocity, not giving out of emotions. You give to people that give to you. You give to people, you feed people that's feeding you. Thank you, Miss Jackie. Thank you so much. She said, thank you for your time given to help others. I give my time. I give my knowledge. I could be doing a whole lot of things on this Saturday night other than this live stream. So thank you, Miss Jackie. So also the one with 2 bags, it did not say at once, but it says he went and gained 2 more. The King James Version gives you some clues of what they did. Instead, they went traded. There's a such thing as trading in the stock market, trading in cryptocurrency in the marketplace, traded their money. But that's a skill set that people have to learn. But let's look at the one that had the least amount, did the least amount. The one who received 1 bag of gold, 1 talent, 1 ounce, dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. This is more so like the people that save money. More people that save it. I'm just going to save my money for a rainy day. And likewise, usually a rainy day does come for those people. Saving money. I'm just going to save. I'm going to pay off debt and save money. And as I stated in my earlier live stream, usually the problem or the issue with people that pay off debt is they have a scarcity mentality. They only think about getting rid of debt and not using or leveraging debt to increase, right? To multiply their money. They have a scarcity mentality. And I heard Myron Goldman describe it this way, Myron Golden, that it's easier to make a lot of money over a short period of time than it is to make a little money over a long period of time. Let me say this again for the people in the nosebleed seat. Myron Golden. It is easier to make a lot of money in a short amount of time than it is to make a little money in a long amount of time. It's easier to make 100,000 a month than it is to make 100K a year. It's easier to make 100,000 a week than it is to make 100,000 in a month. It's easier to make 100,000 in a day than it is to make 100,000 in a week. It's easier to make 100,000 in an hour than it is to make 1,000 in a day. I contest this is true. It is easier for me to put my money in crypto and to let it sit and make money than it is for me to go out and trade my time for dollars and make money. See, some of you, if you are honest, read that or you heard me say that, and you're thinking that this can't be true. One of the reasons why you can't wrap your mind around the fact that it is easier to make $100,000 in an hour than it is to make $100 an hour is because when you think of making money, you think of trading time for money. But I guarantee that it is possible if you learn how to put your money to work and allow your money to work for you versus you always working for the money. That song, I Work Hard for the Money, is misleading. So after a long time, the Bible don't specify the length of time. It just says a long time. And as I said on my earlier live stream, this is where the Baptist preacher would just, someone else said, hit the podium and Really preaching, wipe the sweat off and say, after a long time, and probably hum and mum with it. And people get all emotional, or if the Pentecostal or church or Church of God in Christ, they would tell the Hammond organ to hit the notes and say, after a long time, and they would tie this into the rapture. This has nothing to do with rapture, people. This is talking about money and accountability for money and teaching you how to multiply money and to put your money to work, right? So after a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled their accounts with them. The man received 5 bags of gold. He brought back 5. I want you all, whether you are watching this live or on the replay, to put 5x, right? He received and he brought back the other 5. He didn't have a scarcity mentality. He didn't think about, I need to pay out debt first. No, he thought about, I need to multiply my money first. Why pay off debts at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8% when you can grow your money at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, and even, yes, 1,000x return, as Deuteronomy 1 and 11 states? May the Lord thy God, the God of our ancestors, bless you and increase you 1,000 times more. As I said on my earlier live stream, just because people are blessed does not mean that they are financially increased. Because Deuteronomy 1 and 11 says, bless and increase you. You can be blessed and you can be broke. That was good. I need a witness in here. Thank you for putting 5x, Miss Reed. Can somebody say, put in a comment as well? You can be blessed and you can be broke. I want to be blessed and banking. Why? Because the Bible tells me so. The Bible says I can have both. I don't have to choose. And I'm not talking about in the afterlife. I'm talking about in this life. So he said, Master, you trusted me with 5 ounces or 5 bags of gold. See, I have gained 5 more. And the master replied, what did the master say? Well done. And he called him good and faithful, because you have been faithful with just a few, and I will put you in charge of many. See, this is the lesson, the practical thing that people need to understand as well. He said, come and enter into the joy of the Lord. This version says, come and share your master's happiness. And then here comes along the man with 2 bags of gold, right? The ones that have the skill set, right? The one who have the skill set. Thank you. You can be blessed and no, yeah, you could be broke. That's right. You could be blessed and you could be broke. Thank you. Thank you for making a mind message connection and helping me preach over this live stream, preach, teach. So the man with 2 bags of gold said, Master, you trusted me with 2 bags, and look and see. Man, these people seem happy about their money multiplying, right? I gave you 2x return. I got you 2 more. The master said, well done, you good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things, and as a result, I will put you in charge of many. See, the people with the least skill set have the least responsibility on their jobs. Yeah, they're employees, but they very seldom will be able to walk in entrepreneurship because of their skill set, along with their financial IQ. And it says, come in and share your master's happiness, right? Come and enter into the joy of the Lord. But here comes the one that had the least. He had the least amount of money, but more excuses. When I used to coach basketball, I used to say this: you can make excuses or you can execute, but you cannot do both. You can't do both. You can make excuses or you can execute, but you cannot do both. You cannot do both, people. You cannot make excuses and execute. So the man that had the one had more excuses. He said, Master, I knew that you was a hard man, and you harvest where you have not sown, right? How can you harvest where you've not sown? How can you do that? I'm glad you ask that question. See, I didn't create Bitcoin. I didn't create Ethereum. Some of you are the Apple business. Some of you did not create um, Microsoft. I didn't create XRP. I didn't create XLM. But guess what? I'm reaping the harvest from it. So he told me you're a hard man. You harvest where you have not sown. See, I didn't create any, I didn't sow any time, any intellectual knowledge to sow into Bitcoin other than putting my cash in there, right? And you gather where you have not scattered seed. So you can reap the financial rewards of things without being a creator of it, right? And so, with that being said, he said, so I was afraid. See, fear keeps people from growing their money. And evidently, this man was in fear because he could not have had the knowledge that they had because the one that had the most money went at once. He did not hesitate. He could have hesitated because the master was gone a long time. But see, once you understand that money that's not growing, right? Money that's not growing is money that's slowing. That means it's slowly losing its purchasing power. Money that's not growing is money that's slowing. That means money that's not growing, you're going to lose more and more of it because of inflation. See, what some people don't know is that you have these four obstacles why you should be growing your money. If you're not growing your money, these four things are going to attack your money, right? Taxes, taxes, bad debt, right? Debt, you got bad debt, you got good debt. Good debt is any debt that makes you money. Bad debt, like, well, Queen, show me somewhere in the Bible where there's good debt. I'm glad you asked. 2 Kings chapter 4. She went and borrowed. I'm glad you asked that question, right? She went and borrowed. He said, I want you to go borrow. Borrowing is borrowing, right? And she made a business out of it. She didn't go out and splurge and spend her money on a vacation she couldn't afford or holiday, shopping that she could not afford. In fact, holiday shopping, they said that consumers this year or this holiday season, Americans spent $5.6 million online shopping this year. No, that woman didn't do that in Second Kings. She didn't go out and borrow and get a Visa or Discover or MasterCard to go shopping over the holidays. No. So the man that had the least had the most excuses. And he said, so I was afraid, people tell me I've invested and I have not received a return. Well, you invested in the wrong things, right? And so I was afraid and I went and hid your money in the ground. Doesn't that sound like someone that just saved money with, well, you know what? We'll see what it is. We'll see. He says, see, I have what belongs to you now. At least this man didn't go out and just spend his money carelessly. He was disciplined. He gave him what he was given. He didn't multiply, but he didn't subtract from it either. But the master said, you are wicked and lazy for doing that. For the people that sometimes go by the title of Christians, which is Christ-like. For the people that when I do these live streams and telling me, oh, you the Hebrew Israelites, they just think, oh yeah, I'm gonna get some reparations money behind that, Queen. See, I don't have to do nothing. I can be lazy. God is just gonna bless me because I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I don't have to learn about this new world economic system. I'm banking on reparations. But what if you get reparations and the cash is about to go out of the system anyway, and you don't know how to convert it into the new world economic system? Selah, I will pause and allow you to think on that thing. So he said, I knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. He said, you knew this about me. You knew my expectations. He said, well, then at least put my money, King James says, to giving it to the banker, said, when I return, I should have received it back with interest. What does this have to do with the rapture? Tell me, what does this have to do with the rapture? No, this has to do with money. Monet. I want my money back with interest. This is like Nino Brown and um, New Jack City. This is like Scarface. I want my money back with interest, man. No, for an excuse. I used to say when I coached, erase the excuses, expecting excellence. And I meant that. Like, no, no, no. You should at least give me some interest on my money. So because you didn't, because you was concerned about paying off lower interest rate and growing your money at a higher interest rate, this is what's going to happen to you. See, I'm giving you the 2023 version, right? I'm giving you the 2023 version. This is what's going to happen to you during this wealth transfer. See, I'm going to take the little that you have, right? The little that you have will be taken away, and I'm going to give it to the ones that know how to multiply my money. Does that sound like God coming down and saving people because we're going to enter a recession? Does this sound like the mindset of God and how God works? So he said, I'm going to give it to the one that got 10 bags. I'm going to take the gold, the one bag from you, and give it to him that knows how to multiply my money. Then it says, because who has been given more, they will have an abundance. I got to show you that in black and white. This is for the people, again, in the nosebleed seats. The people that's saying God just going to drop money down from heaven, or a rapture going to come and say, no, 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 no. Let's read this. So the bag of gold from him, the bag of gold from him, and give it to the one that has 10. This is where Grant Cardone get 10x from, right? This is where Grant Cardone get 10x, right? And so with this being said, and I would give it to them that have abundance, for the people that hate rich people and wealthy people. Why do they always get rich and wealthy? Because they know how to multiply money. See, this is why the poor get poor and the rich get richer. And it's biblical. It's right here in black and white. And it says, whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. Whoever does not have, even what they have. So it's unbiblical for you to be asking. You need to be asking God for more skill set in your prayer, not more money. Lord, give me more skills to pay the bills. Give me more knowledge, more wisdom, more of an open mind, more of an understanding. And then he said, and throw this worthless servant outside into darkness where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. This sounds like hell on earth, because he was lazy, he was wicked, he was thrown into darkness where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth, because he was too lazy to put interest on his money. Now, do you think I would be a good church pastor or teacher if I taught the Bible like this, and then I decide to say, okay, now I'm collecting offering, which is also tax free, right? They probably wouldn't give me an offering around this part of the sermon, because now I've just shifted the accountability of growing their money back on them. And people don't like accountability or responsibility. They want bailouts. And God doesn't work that way. You all must not have read about the God in the Old Testament. God doesn't work that way. Not even in the New Testament. The people with the 5,000, he fed them after they followed him all day long. Those people have to make a sacrifice. So then another investing analogy, parable, story that I like to teach is Matthew 13:44. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field. And when a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy went and sold. See, we can look at Joseph during a recession, during a famine. Joseph went, sold wheat to the ancient Egyptians. He did not give them anything. When it comes to biblical multiplication concerning money, nothing is given to you. You got to do business. In fact, Luke 19:13 says to do business until I return. There's no freebies when it comes to money in the Bible. You can give a man of God some food and your food will be multiplied. But when it comes to money, you better have a financial IQ and learn business and get some skills to pay the bills. And he said, when a man found it, he hid it again. And then in his joy, see, people tell me sometimes, well, money don't make you happy, queen. And I get it. There is some things in life money can't buy, but let me tell you, money can't put you in a position to get the expertise you need to find out if you can be helped or not helped. And we can relate that to a medical situation. Well, Queen, I had this medical condition and money didn't help me. Well, if you had the right insurance, it helped you at least get access to the best of physicians. If you didn't have the right insurance, then you did not get access. At least you had access to the best to try to treat and cure your condition. Some people don't even have the money to get access to the best physician who can cure and or treat. So, and then in his joy, Matthew 13:44 says, it's a whole, see, Matthew 25 said that the people that multiplied their money, they enter into the joy of the Lord. So you might be right. Money may not buy you happiness, but it sure can bring joy according to the Bible. So a man said he went like a treasure hidden in the field. When a man found this treasure, he hid it again. Because see, I don't want anybody else to find it. And then in his joy, not his master's joy, not the Lord's joy, in his joy, he went and sold all he had and bought that field. Now, let me bring this up to date for you in 2023. And I'm not telling you to do this. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm just doing like the Bible does, and I'm giving you stories and parables. Do you know that there are some people who sold their homes, sold their vehicles? See, they wasn't worried about paying them off. They sold them to invest in crypto and they became multimillionaires over time. I used to read Deuteronomy 1 and 11 and I said, God, how do I get 1,000x return? Is it even possible? And if your financial IQ is low, if your financial IQ is low, you may do things like I used to think and say, no, there's no way to get 1,000x return. But I'm looking at this crypto chart on the year, Casper, 1,448% return for the year. Render, 553% return on the year. Engine, 900, I almost said 1,000x return on the year. Now, some people say, well, Queen, the Bible also talks about the 100-fold return. And you're right, it does. Genesis 26, Isaac sowed in that land and received in the same year. Somebody, help me teach this. Help me teach this. Put in the same year, right? If you're still here with me, Chunga, help me teach this. Put in the same year. I'm going to show it to you all. How about that? In the same year. Didn't have to wait several years. Isaac sowed in that land. Let me say this. It does not say Isaac sold to a man, did it? It said Isaac sold in that land. That means real estate. And received in the same year 100-fold return. And see, when I told you all earlier, you can be blessed and be broke. Different. Isaac was blessed financially. and blessed of the Lord. And the Lord blessed him. See, semicolon. And the Lord blessed them. Now, some of you all say, well, Queen, that may mean 100-fold spiritual. No, no, no. Let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. He sold in the land, he sold in real estate. He had possession of flocks, plural, possession of herds, plural, and a great store of servants. He had people serving him. And guess what? The Philistines envied him. Why do people envy people that know how to put their money in the marketplace and assets and get a financial gain? A great store of servants. That means this man was rich, rich. He wasn't blessed and broke. He was rich, rich. Thank you. Facebook got me in the same year. Here we go. The same year. And likewise, the same year in crypto, even though I got my crypto for the long haul. And that same year, could have been this year, Bitcoin could have got you 128% return this year. Bitcoin Cash could have got you 100-fold as well, 102% return this year. CDX could have got you 110% return this year. FTX, also known as FTT, could have got you a 212% return this year. TRX could have got you 102% return this year. But Casper, you all know I got to show the scripture. I said it, but I got to show it, right? I got to show it. Casper could have got you 1,000x return. Now, again, I know Grant Cardone says 10x, but what about 1,000x? In fact, I'm about to come out with a book with all of the cryptos, altcoins, that can give you 11 to 1,000x return, and where to find them. That's the secret. That's another thing. Where to find them, because they're not all on one platform. So Deuteronomy 1 and 11, the Lord God of your fathers, King James says, the God of our ancestors, will make you 1,000 times so many more as you are. King James says, will increase you 1,000 times more. And see, there's that word again. And is a conjunction. It's a conjunction. As on, what does it say? Coordinate. I'm trying to think. Coordinate. What movie? Boomerang. Yeah. Boomerang. Talk about coordinate. See, and is a coordinating conjunction. And we use it to connect two words or clauses or prefixes or, phrases, right? That means it has to join the blessing in 1,000 times more to let you know that the blessing is not always financial increase, but it's joining them together. And he said, as he has promised you. See, you can be promised a thing, but you won't walk in that thing because you won't take actions on the promises. Queen, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. Yeah, you are. But are you going to take actions on it, right? Are you going to maximize knowing that information? I did not look at Solana. I'm sorry, Ryan. I make log back in. Let's see where it sold. Oh, yeah, sold 308% return on the year. Like, why wouldn't you not multiply your money? Right? Fast Queen, you know how to buy them on tier 1 exchanges? Yes, I do. Conjunction, junction. What's your function? See, there's people that's blessed and broke. I'm blessed and highly flavored. Yeah, you broke though. Yeah, you broke. So you can't be like highly favored. Not highly. Right? Because The Bible states that I will make you rich and add no sorrow with it. And see, every scripture I just read from you and showed you that everybody that multiply money enter into the joy of the Lord. So don't come to me and tell me money doesn't make you happy. In fact, just saying the word money makes you smile. Don't believe me? Just watch. Watch this. Watch this. Money. See? Money. It just makes you smile. So if money doesn't make you happy, guess what? Don't worry about it. It will leave you. Money is like a woman. Matthew 25 says the one that doesn't multiply the little you have, more will be taken away. As we have by the number, it says nearly 2/3 of Americans right now living paycheck to paycheck. And you worried about paying off 2-3% debt when you can be getting 1,000x, 100x, 300x, 200x, 100x return on your money. Guess what? You can pay off that 3% debt, 7% debt, and still have enough left over. See, God is a God of multiplication and plenty left over. In fact, I'm going to end my sermon. I'm going to call it a sermon tonight with this to show you. When God fed the 5,000, and you got different versions of Matthew, Luke, and John. So let me try to pull up the one that specifies or just shows, right? There was about 5,000 men, including the women and children. And let's see. Yeah, here we go. So it's right here, Matthew 14. And they were satisfied. See, they were eating until they were satisfied. For the people that, Queen, I don't need 1,000 as return. Well, I don't know why. You serve 1,000 as God, or you supposed to anyway, right? You serve 1,000 as God. God wasn't broke either. God wasn't broke either. In fact, when they ripped him of his coat, when they were getting ready to hang him on the cross, they said, "Oh, no, don't tear that coat up. We can sell that. We can sell that." God wasn't broke. And some people say, the Son of Man didn't have anywhere to lay his head. No, he wasn't. That wasn't his priority. When they got ready to crucify God, they said, "No, don't rip that coat. We can sell that coat." God was not broke, people. In fact, why would you need a treasurer to follow you around if you were broke? Right? Now, I know you might stand with the treasurer sold him for so many pieces of silver. That's true, but he still had a treasurer. Anyway, they said they all ate and were satisfied. And the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over, enough left over. The number 12 is representation of something as well. The Bible never gives you numbers just for the sake of giving numbers. In fact, Jesus healed a little girl at the age of 12, right? Even though Judas was corrupt, he had 12 disciples. One from the 12 leaves 11. The Bible gives you numbers for a reason. 12 governments, 12 months of the year. Now it's 12 months of the year. It didn't used to be that way, right? A divine fulfillment had taken place, 12, and it was left over. Those are the type of investing strategy that you're supposed to learn from the Bible. So I'm signing out, right? I hope you realize about the BRICS nation. Again, I've talked about this over and over again about Brazil, Russia, India, China, Saudi Arabia coming together to dump the United States dollar. That should be implemented around the fall of 2024. Saudi Arabia now is also saying they're going to do surprise oil cuts, and the futures market should soar. As a result, oil prices will increase. As we also know, the Gulf of Mexico They are reporting that 1.1 million gallons of oil was lost or leaked in the pipeline. And so, although oil prices fell for the holidays, I believe, but on Thursday, that's because OPEC, this is the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, delayed their meeting that was scheduled for November the 26th, which is tomorrow. They rescheduled that for November the 30th. So, all gas prices are falling for the holidays. There's nothing new. The government always do that. And they also decrease pricing on the economy, also during election period for local elections in November. So that's why a lot of people are seeing the calm before the storm now. Americans are spending their money. They have no clue what's ahead. In fact, the government shutdown can happen. Is it January the 19th and February the 2nd? I believe so. Partial funding that was approved in the last government section will end on those dates, January the 19th and February the 2nd. And also the media has, storylines like this. What happens if the sitting president dies while running for re-election? We already know the Simpsons said that Kamala Harris will be, the first black president we'll see. But the first thing that they put in this article was that Kamala would take over. Let me see, can I find it? Yeah. The immediate aftermath would be President Kamala. We will get President Kamala. They already named her President Harris, who will be the first female president and just is second black president. That's interesting that they have articles saying that already. It came out yesterday. And the Simpsons already predicted that Kamala would be president. They had Lisa Simpsons and the Pearls and the Blue, the show Democrat. So we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens. This is my live stream, you all. I'm coming out with my 11x, 1000x books. For those who know that altcoins will give you greater return than the Bitcoin and the Ethereums. And what a lot of people are going to do is take their profits and interest from the altcoins and then roll it over into the Bitcoin, into the Ethereum, because at the prices that Bitcoin and Ethereum are priced at now, it prices out a lot of people that are middle class, which simply means that you're not going to get a high return on your investment. Bitcoin is at 37,000. So even if you dollar cost average, that's not a good return on I, right? I just showed you where for the year Bitcoin return a little over 100%. That's not bad, but you can do better, right? Ethereum at $2,000. This is also why I educate people. You need to know if you need to invest in gold, because gold is right over 2,000 an ounce as well, like Ethereum. And so, putting cash into silver, because this is real money, right? Cash currency is not real money. And as I told people in my earlier live stream, you had a Venezuela dollar. They was printing out. And this is more beautiful than the American dollar. Right? I know it's a glare. They have a better art work on their dollar than what we did, but this is worth nothing anymore. And all dollars have digital numbers to identify them. It's just on paper. The same thing will happen with digital currency now. They will have a series of digits that identify them, and that will be kept in the cloud. So we're just changing to a new world economic system, to digital cash. But you don't want to have the central bank's digital currency. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum takes you out of the government system. If you get central bank's digital currency, they tell you how to spend it, when to spend it. They can block you for even getting into crypto. They won't allow you to buy gold and silver on CBDCs. And the banking system is changing the CBDCs, right? They won't allow you to get access anymore. And this is why IMF says they will own nothing and be happy. Because you won't own anything, but you're just going to be happy because you're going to get government assistance CBDCs, you're going to be happy with the bread that falls from the master's table, just a little bit that you're getting. But they will position you to own nothing at all. You will own nothing. You will not be investors. So before that switch is flipped, you need to invest your cash now out of the government system, because once it's in the government system, you have no control, no say so over your money or getting access. Right? Visit that website, visit my website, milliemoves.com. You all have a great rest of your Saturday night. I'm signing out. Queen out. And I'm going to leave you with this smile as I say, money, peace.